early, not fighting us in Lower Can. I
Bro,
believe that was the biggest blunder.
TFS can't admit that EIS won, just like EIS can't
Are
admit
you
they
an
can't
Are
fight
you
a
an
1v1.
EIS player?
Wait. Since when is the game a 1v1 situation? That's for roll. That's why you guys could win roll. This is a season where a lot of invite alliances are
Funny.
involved.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of rat strats are involved too.
Yeah, and there were some amazing build strats from EIS's build team, and yeah,
Yeah, I
they
mean,
outplayed, they
one
outsmarted you guys 110%.
in building, sure, in open field now.
Bro, open field, you
It
guys
goes
were
hand in hand.
losing
I
badly.
see it
Like,
on both sides. Like, yeah, TFS might have tore down more towers, but an L is still an L.
yeah. That
Bro,
no, the thing is they went after towers that didn't have no significance of importance to us. It's like burning towers and like extra towers
Yeah,
in
no,
Zone
no,
1.
no,
Like we
I
don't
get
care
what you're
about those
saying.
towers.
Yeah,
Yeah, like we didn't care. Like the moment we actually decided, okay, we have to hold here, they never took it. The biggest victory TFS got from us, in my personal opinion, was definitely the Spire. But it took them 2 tries and they dropped down 1 billion power both times to
yeah, but
do it.
so did you.
What? So
If
did us
you
what?
include both alliances.
No, we didn't. There's a
You
statistic
dropped
on
one
it. The
billion.
EIS dropped, I think it was like 5 to 600 mil, and then BXS dropped like 200,
Yeah,
300.
if you
BXS is a
well,
heck of
combine
a
them
lot of pretty
both.
good fighters.
Yeah, if you combine
whoever's
them
Who's
taking
both.
the
saying
Spire
combined?
should lose more power.
No, no,
Says
that's what I'm saying.
combined.
Combined, it wasn't still TFS had bad trades. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like it's like one
if you're
No,
billion
taking
from
the
bro,
them.
Spire,
it's
you
you
should
know, if you
definitely
go on
lose more.
offense, you're taking bad trades already.
Yeah,
No,
you're
that's fair,
taking
and
bad
that's
trades
fair,
because
and
you're not
that's
on
and
territory. You're getting hit by turrets. You got people popping in and out of castles. There's a lot more that goes into it.
we didn't really do much popping out of castles because it was so many players that it was just like more like we're waiting for them to go and
Oh,
enter.
the whole game was watching your guys' server. I mean, that was fun to watch.
No,
That
yeah,
I
of
mean, that
course.
was fun to like fight too. Like I think that was the best fight and the merge. The choke sucked. The choke sucked dick.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like, okay, this is the way how I see it, right? You guys are complaining that one side of the map is OP. We all knew that. I remember me, Ken, Wolf Slayer, like Sabrina, and like a couple others were in this
Yeah,
Discord
but
prior to the
blood
server
came from
merge.
the. Which side is the easier side of the dragon? Is that
The
Nuvola?
top left and the top right. Which so I
Right.
would say like so Frosty and Nuvola Darlan are the best locations because
Yeah.
Darlan Nuvola you especially Darlan you have access to Lower Can and you can enter through the top right
Yeah.
or so Frosty and Nuvola because you can enter to the top left. So those were the
So blood
fastest routes.
blood came from the bottom, and they still got the dragon. So there's not really an excuse if you think the top part of the map's OP, like from a TFS standpoint. Just move to the top part of the map right
That's what
away.
we were in shock when what's his name TFS went to Zolan. We're like, what the hell they're doing? Like,
And I think that was the developer's plan by making this map. If they make one starting zone the best zone to be, it incentivizes the top two teams to go in there and fight over it and say, we're taking this zone because this is the path to the dragon we want.
I agree.
I don't know if I'd agree with that. Only because if that was the case, they wouldn't have cared to start adding in stipulations and limitations on trying to limit Zone One fights. When they put in the Peace Shield, when they put in the Resurgent restriction, I mean, essentially all of those were really meant to limit the amount of Zone One fighting that happens.
No, but that's on fault
But
towards
even like
certain
even
people
if
complaining.
CFS went to Sofrostia and they went to Nuvola, they still could have fought earlier and got in there faster
No, no,
by going to the
yeah,
other side of the
Agreed.
map. You let them
oh
get
yeah.
to zone 4 untouched. I mean, that's a
Yeah,
huge blunder.
yeah, I
EIS
agree.
picked a smarter starting zone, and then they did what they had to win.
If the roles were reversed and TFS was to drop in, let's say, so Frost and Nuvola, Darlan, we would have easily teleported in their region and fought them. If we were to lose, we would still fight them because we know that's the best flag positioning to the dragon.
Right.
Like
And I
regardless, we
thought
would
Blood
have to.
messed up because Blood went on the other side of the map and avoided the teams that they were fighting.
Mhm.
And then they ended up cranking up and winning.
Yeah,
So it's possible because I mean Blood was at a huge disadvantage, especially like a day into the the thing because I was in the fight, and it was like, oh shit, they're screwed.
Right. But yeah, that's what I was saying. That's why I kept telling. Like my argument towards TFS with the choke and everything is just like if you were guys in So Frostia, we would have easily EIS and BXS would have easily went in the same zone and fought for that zone or a neighboring zone because we knew this is the best path to Dragon. That's my argument. My argument
And
is
I
we knew
think that was
and we would
the
have fought it.
plan of this map was to make the top teams say, hey, this zone and this zone are the two best to get to the Dragon. If you want to get there the fastest way, you have to get there. And now that EIS took it, people are going to be fighting in those zones now.
Yeah. And then I don't know why TFS went to Zolan. I'll never forget. It was literally me, Ken, Sabrina, Wolf Slayer, and I think it was Jasper Duck. I don't remember if it was. And then like Ken was like streaming his screen, and then they were showing like, hey, look, counting the flags, and then we're like, oh yeah, the top left, the top right. This is before my issue with TFS. This is before the shit talking even started.
I'm not in
me and them.
TFS, so I feel no hard feelings. Keep going.
No. I'm just saying as an
Sabrina,
example. This
what
is
up, girl?
before. This is prior. This is pre-merge. This is like when we first met, and we were all talking in the chat, and I remember that. So we knew coming that literally Ken could have showed the photo. He could have. I remember. Ken, did you take a screenshot of that when you were showing when you were doing that flag building?
Bro, I took a shot. I took a screenshot of everything, bro. I told everybody either the
Thank you.
two north passes are the easiest to build, bro.
Exactly.
They're the
So
quickest route.
Thank you.
I
Bro,
said it
I
from the
remember this.
beginning,
I remember
bro.
we were in the chat. That's what I'm saying. Like, how the fuck did TFS like screwed up and went to
told
a
TFS
people
doesn't
that
have builders
we
anymore.
didn't, we didn't need to take like we shouldn't have let EIS take the north pass in Lorcan.
Yeah, but Ken, TFS doesn't have their main builders anymore. They're gone from the game. So.
But that's the thing. Like literally, Ken was saying he was showing. We were all in the chat. That's what I'm saying. So it's like it's not
Yeah.
a good excuse anymore.
Whatever.
We were all in the chat. We counted. Ken took screenshots and sent it. Like even though the main builders weren't there, it's not. You know, you don't have to be like, oh my god, a strat. You know, of hardcore.
My team's 5 billion power,
24/7.
and we knew what zones were the fastest to the Dragon.
You know,
Yeah, like a common person can know. They just got to take a screenshot.
There's
and
no
take
excuse
measure
to
with
say,
the flag.
oh, well, we didn't have a builder.
yeah, there's a woman named Karma in TFS, and she's a great builder. Maybe they should follow her lead and let a woman speak finally. So.
All right, that was not the
Yeah,
point
we
of the
don't know about
argument, but
that.
okay, all right.
That's
We'll
crazy.
take it.
That is wild.
I mean, that was not the point of the
It's
argument.
the truth, because Karma's good at building.
Okay.
Um,
Anyways,
Okay.
so that wasn't the point, but okay. What I'm trying to say is that TFS had literally legit screenshots. And
I won't lie. I feel like if we both met in the middle at the north, if like both sides went and built from the north passes and we met in the middle, I feel like we would have had a way better chance of beating you guys.
absolutely, there's no denying. There's no denying saying, hey, you wouldn't have a chance. Everyone has a chance here. It's a 50-50. It was the fairest possible fight it could possibly be. You know what I'm saying?
Like if we met right where the bridge is in the north, between the north passes, the
Mhm.
bridge to the north of the dragon, like
Mhm.
I don't know, man. It just bothers me the what if, you know.
Yeah, no, but I mean, like I said, it's I was just in shock when I saw TFS going to Zolan because literally, if the roles were reversed, we would have fought. Like, we would have hot dropped on TFS's land and said, "No, we're going to challenge you guys for this zone." And if we lose, we're going to go to the neighboring zone to challenge. If Nuvola couldn't beat, it would have been Darlan, and would have been like, "No, we're still going to fight you guys."
Yeah, I feel like
Regardless.
would have been the best possible spot to start from.
Yeah, I don't know why TFS didn't take that opportunity.
Like against
And
you guys, like if you guys went to Safrostia, I feel like they should have went to Novola.
yeah, and you know that's why they lost, and I don't understand why we're having this argument with like, oh well, TFS kind of like didn't pretty no, they got outplayed. Clearly, it was a clear
absolutely.
outplayed, situation. And especially with the lower can, that was a huge fumble. Like Dark was concerned And I was telling Dark, I was like, they're not gonna push it. They don't view it as like an objective. They don't think we're gonna build there. And I'm
I
pretty sure
kind
it
of
was
didn't understand that either. Like
that's what
I did not understand that either. Like
that's I knew it. I was confident because I was seeing you guys build, and I was
I
like, they're
was
not building aggressively to the point where they have to come here. Like they didn't. I think you guys didn't know about like the road situation with like when you capture a pass, it automatically gives you a road. I think that's where it was a huge blunder again on the TFS leadership part because it's like
Oh,
we
you're saying to build into the final zone, like from the from when you get
yeah
to your fort
yeah
on
because
the tip
Dark
of
deleted a
the.
bunch of
You mean
roads, and
wait?
you know how when you
You mean like what EIS did on the pass off the cliff?
yes
He's
yeah
talking about yeah. He's talking about that.
Well,
yeah because that
I
was
mean that's just one example, but yeah, I mean I figured that's what.
no, yeah, that's yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like that was such a smart play, like on us. All we had to worry about was like, will TFS push the bridge? Will they have to come to us? We don't have to go to them, you know. And they didn't. And well, we took advantage. We're like, and I knew just by how TFS was building, they were not building aggressively. And I said, no, they're not gonna. They're not gonna. They're confident
Yeah, I
in
was a little confused on that
yeah.
myself.
So
I
that's
really
what I'm
didn't
saying. Like
understand that.
this was a built-up process that blunder after blunder on the TFS part. This was a complete like in strategy-wise, this was outplayed.
To
That's
be
what
And
I'm trying to say.
honest, you know what I thought was gonna happen? Like I thought, like I didn't mind that we didn't pass the bridge, but I thought what we would have done was just continue to build through Lorcan and take the North Pass. Even though
Right.
you placed a core fort there,
hmm
like to me it wouldn't matter because once we rally the pass, like there's no way you guys would be able to take the pass anyways.
If I was in TFS's shoes and I saw our enemy just put a random alliance fortress next to a pass, I would have been like, why the fuck are they doing that? Why?
Well,
What's the
to me
what's
it wouldn't matter. To me it wouldn't matter. Like if we built to the pass, like we would have been able to defend that pass regardless, even if you guys had a core fort on that cliff. Um, I think we should have just went through the north.
there was a lot of things I felt like you guys could have done better, and I'm just like, bro, why did why didn't they do these things? Like, well, what's going on? Like, are you know? So
Yeah,
honestly, I just feel there's a lot of strategy involved, and we definitely, especially our build team, outplayed TFS's build team, and it's crazy because I guess the Lorcan, not
Wasn't
everyone.
it really EIS built in though? It was BXS.
It
Right.
was both. It was the combination of both.
no. Now that's where I have to
Give
stop
your
you
allies
right
credit.
there because there's a certain there's
Bro,
a certain
Shazam,
someone who
you're
will take
sticking
up,
all
into
the
Odie?
the.
credit for the building. There's one
Hold up.
certain player who will take all the entire credit for all the building that happened for you guys.
Jeez. This is the type of excuses you'll hear, Shazam, from all these TFS members, man. Don't mind
I
them,
love
bro.
I love Ken. Ken
What's up,
Ken is
Odie?
the
Excuses? I didn't
Ken,
really
King
Ken
of the
is
What's up,
excuses,
guys?
mercenaries,
bro.
king of the
I'm
free to
Ken,
just
play.
saying, like, there's one player who will
Oh.
claim that they did all the building for both of them. Like,
You talking about Morden?
It
yes.
doesn't matter who did the building; they're a team, and they were together, and they busted TFS ass.
Yeah, there you go, Ice. Hey, Ice cuts right
I
through.
mean, at the end of the day, like I said, I like Ken is
No,
my
it's just an
you know what I'm saying?
excuse to say,
Me
"Oh,
and
this
Ken
guy
are
came up with a build plan."
koozies and
It
stuff.
doesn't matter. They got the dragon. They won the season. Like it don't matter who came up with the plan. They worked together.
That's very
Oh
true. And
yeah, I don't really. Yeah,
Dragon
I
wins
was
the
just
season.
telling.
no,
I was
yeah. I
just
mean,
telling Black Adam like.
but
Wait, Black Adam's in here?
no,
Damn it. Oh, that's you.
Yeah,
No,
and
they
by
got
the
the
way,
dragon. They won the season. End of story. We had good fights. Like
No, it's.
we definitely rickrolled people on fights, but they have the dragon. They won the season. That's how it goes.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. Like,
Yeah, but you're
never
trying to say
said
it was
that
the
we won.
BXS builders. It don't matter which builder came up with the plan. Everybody bought in, and they were on the same side.
Oh no! At the end of the day, whichever alliance is holding the dragon won the season. I don't care.
Yeah, I mean it's because
Like,
one team
EIS
can't
won the
win,
season.
can't beat the server. It's just how it is. So
and
they
that's what
everybody
it
had to
came
work
down
together.
to.
Well, at the end of
exactly
the
that.
day, you have the one alliance who's taking the dragon, and then the other alliance is just there.
Well, EXG was gonna do that if you guys were to win. Come on, let's be honest. It's EXG. You know, I dislike
Like,
them
there's
guys.
Speak.
always one alliance that will be like
Bro, EXG, man. I don't
I
even
told
know.
you they were trash. I warned you guys. I don't care. I said it and I called it, and you
I'm
knew
not
why I
calling them
dislike
trash,
them.
but
They're trash. I don't care. They're trash. I'm glad everyone realized now they're trash. That's all I have to say. Because fuck those
who
guys.
EIS.
No, EXG.
Doesn't
Literally,
like them.
you know, bro.
Oh.
It was never
So
explained.
Kamikaze
Why don't you like
only
them?
person-
I tried getting him twisted there.
No, I want to know why he doesn't like them because it was never explained. Do you know what I mean? Like, I want to know the backstory.
Ken knows exactly why. Ken knows because he
he
was in our
just
season.
he just like um.
They've been all up in my.
There was
in-
one other alliance that betrayed us and went and joined EXG
Mm.
Are you
Yeah, that
asking
was
why
the-
Black Item doesn't like
during our
EXG?
season. Yeah.
Oh, well, I can tell you.
Yeah,
I would like
let's hear you, Bull. Let's hear
Well,
you.
let
Bull.
me see. Let me
I would
hear
like to
your
know before I make a
perspective,
final
because
stand on where
I
I'm
just
going.
explained why the reasoning behind it. Like,
Well, I was in EXG at the time. Basically, what happened is we came into the server, and all of the leaders kind of decided how to best evenly approach this season. So, power-wise, it was us and one other alliance with 42TC against, I want to say, Tang, CKBK, and another alliance. I can't remember all of the names. As soon as we went into the season, we separated
it
the
was
starting
FG.
zones.
It was FG, right?
It was,
Um,
no,
It was
it
I
was
think
FG,
FG,
UDF.
yeah.
and then the
UDF.
other alliance. Yeah, UDF. There we go.
Yeah,
No, there was
basically
one
we-
more with us, wasn't there? The one that betrayed us.
Oh, wow. That was the
wow.
36.
But they
Yeah.
were
Yeah,
they were
yeah, there
allied
we go,
with
wow.
FG at the time. Anyways, we separated the starting zones the most evenly we possibly could.
Bastards.
But the rules with the leadership at the beginning was you can join alliances like in your same starting zone, but no resurging to different alliances. And it was EXG versus FG and WAO, and EXG was pulling ahead in that battle. And then a bunch of T5 players from Tang and CKBK resurged and joined FG. Black Adam at the time, his name was Shazam, he was in FG, and then they started winning after those players resurged. But in the end, EXG beat EXG and 42TC won against Shazam, and he got very upset. So he took a bunch of T5 players from CKBK and Tang to follow 42TC into their next season.
Wait, he is an Adam or
Whoa.
Wait,
Dude, he cut off so much information.
Adam didn't do that.
Yeah, it wasn't me.
Well,
I was
regardless,
the
he
one
was a
of the
part of that
influencers.
group, so I'm putting him into that cookie jar. But he
Yeah.
did join them to go against them into the next season,
Yeah,
so that
yeah.
he could be their enemies.
He
And
joined
then
my
this season,
side.
he did the same when he joined EIS, so he could be against EXG, because he was trying to get revenge when he lost that season against us.
yeah, because he left Meower's group, right?
Yeah, I was in. He was in one of these voice chats in the COD Discord when he announced it. He was very upset.
What?
Yeah, I was with Ken. I was really confused because I didn't know where all the hate was coming from because I had never heard of EXG.
He
Or
missed out a lot
EIS,
of
to be fair.
information. But
I think
anyways.
it's just the way he
What, bro?
put
Come on.
himself into the game. Like it's like what motivates him. So I don't think it's like a
Oh, that's
mental thing. I think it's more of like a he just does it just to have fun.
Yeah, I farm killed you guys in the finals.
Yeah, I remember that you got a rally, but you just kept healing that one legion. Kept healing that one legion to go out and farm kill. That was very annoying, but props. It was
So
smart.
my perspective, since Bull gave his perspective. All right. So obviously, I was in. I don't think Bull. Were you in the? I don't think you were in that Discord for season 2 Discord. Were you?
Season 2, probably not.
Okay, yeah. So because I remember it was Ducky, Mr. J, and someone else. I forgot. It was a third person in that chat. I remember.
Cartel guy?
No, it wasn't him. He wasn't in leadership like that at the time. He was still like R3 or something. It was someone else. I just don't remember who. Sweet Sugar, the Thai girl.
Oh.
So okay, whatever. So we had, as always, our Karens in our group, which was the French players. Which oh my god, the guys from WoW are just annoying. They they listen to this girl. Remember her name? Hell MM. She's an EXXL. She is literally inactive.
I do know that. I've never spoken to that person, but I know
She,
who you're speaking of.
she had leadership position in WoW at the time, even though she shouldn't have. And I'm like, I was constantly complaining even in the beginning. I was like, guys, she's like 10 mil power. Why the hell does she have she's obviously not even playing the game. So she basically said in the season 2 was like, oh, we have over what was it, 250 players. I'm like, no, we don't. We barely could fill FG up alliance in as one, so we definitely do not have
That's
to.
why we got fucked over that season.
Yeah, she basically gave falsified information that just we didn't have. We didn't have those fighters. We didn't have that thing. The only reason that the matching was somewhat fair is because 80 servers 86 pulled got the whales from server. I think what was it, 50 something, 59 or 58?
Yeah, one of them. It was Darkness's group.
Yeah, it was Darkness, the Arab group, and because they didn't like those guys, they didn't like the leadership from them. That was the only reason it was somewhat fair in a sense, even though it was a 5 billion power difference, and back then, like season 2, that 5 billion power difference was huge. But the tier 5, it wasn't that big of a difference. I think it was like 30 something tier 5s versus like 40 something. It wasn't that bad at the time because we had more of the high end tier 5s. I'm like, okay, kind of whatever. But the average player, there was more players on like 200 more players on the enemy team. So I'm like, anyways, that's not the point. She messed that up. As they continued, I noticed when we were fighting for the runic wars, the runic statues, we kept losing because there was literally no activity from our allies. It's like, bro, UDF was not going to fight. They were having issues with.
Yeah, I remember that.
Exactly, and then what's his name? WoW just was not fighting. So I called them out. I said, look, guys, this is an activity based game. This is not like you don't have to be strong. No one has to. We're not asking you guys to spend to tier 5. What I'm telling you is activity wins everything. Just show up. That's just exactly. That's all you have to do is show up. There was 3. I remember counting because Bunny was there. She was keeping track of 4 different runic statues, all different time zones. They would not show up. So I called them out. I was pissed. I was like, no, this is unacceptable. I don't mind losing. It's just, why are we losing when we know we have a chance to win? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we just have no activity. That was the worst part. Is like you're being blown out. So long story short, I called them out. They didn't like that. And the one time when we separated the runic statue fights, one on the top one in, I think it was zone 2 or 3. I don't remember exactly. And then there was the one in the zone 1. It was EXXL versus WoW and FG versus EXG. WoW won. And I was like, you see? Congratulations to you guys. You guys won. This is what I want to see is activity, yada, yada, blah, blah. Turns out they were getting friendly with EXG because the EXG is primarily an EU alliance. And they were planning to betray some FG had no idea. FG had 0 idea. Global was the one who told us, yo, they're going to betray. Like, we're going to research to you guys because they're planning to betray.
That was very interesting in our perspective because, WoW, I don't know how much I can say because I wasn't in a lot of those chats at the time. But it was basically a WoW was upset at FG. And since we had already had a lot of French players, I think that just kind of strengthened the attraction.
Yeah, no, of course. And then, like I said, I was calling them out really badly in the leadership chat because I was very upset. I didn't like that. And then when they won, I gave them credit. I said, look, credit where credit's due. You guys won against EXXL. This is what I wanted. I don't understand why it was this so hard. And I will never forget, like, one of them was like, oh, it's frustrating how you say things, Shazam, but you know you're not wrong, blah blah. We're gonna try to improve this, and I'm like, okay, good. That sounds perfect. And the next thing you know, 2 days later, Global was like, hey, they're gonna betray, and I'm just like, nobody in the FG leadership knew, and they risked. That's why they risked to prevent it, and well, that's why we won in zone 4 or the second to last zone against EXG because obviously we have like all this extra firepower.
Yeah, like 14 T5s that were just like, all right, time to research.
And they were high end tier 5s. That's what I'm saying. High end
Yeah.
tier 5s. I'm like, okay, and they were active. They were all active. This is when Darkness was hella active, and he likes to fight. So, I was giving an example. So I'm like, okay, cool, whatever. And well, we ended up losing because that obviously when we faced 42 TC, we're like, bro, they have enough activity as an alliance themselves. They're a one server alliance, but they have enough to just beat
They're
us.
really good activity. They're really good.
Yeah, and then we lost. We ended up losing that season because
Bro, it was
just
a struggle fighting them alone, bro.
yeah, it was a struggle. And then EXG was easy to fight. They were easy merits. They were always easy merits. 42 TC, we had a harder time fighting. That was for sure. Because the moment we're like holding them off and holding them into a choke point, we're like, okay, we're winning, we're getting numbers, this, and boom. EXG came in with like 200 marches, and I'm like, yeah, we're not gonna win this. This is when I knew I was like, no, we're not gonna win that. And that's what frustrated me. What frustrated me a lot was the betrayal, and it's like, what was the point of betraying? And like,
That's why I stayed in the final zone, bro. Like,
I thought you were part of EXG and that's why you felt betrayed.
no. They
No.
primarily the wild players from I was
Natsu,
Natsu and NRMP,
yeah.
a couple others. They're still in EXG, and I knew deep down these guys are dead weights, and well, got my revenge. That's all that matters. I got my revenge. I zeroed 2 EXG
Bro,
players. I saw a lot of them get zero, and I was like, I knew it. I told you guys they were dead weights.
nah,
Yeah,
There was
unfortunately,
there
it
was
was one of those victims of being zeroed this season.
there's
Ken, check
no,
your DMs.
there's nobody that the TFS could have allied with this season. Like
No, I know,
realistically,
and I was hoping
there's
I was
no
hoping
other
there was like a fourth good
alliance they could have
strong
allied
team.
with.
I was hoping there was a good fourth strong team, like I don't know, like a BDO or something, so I could just all beat on the XG because I just like them so much.
Nah, but EXG, we kind of came into the mindset of this season when we saw the opponents, whether or not no matter the end result, we were just gonna give it all we could. And I think we were doing fine for most of the season until that one push when ICE, BXS, and LSK kind of set their alarms and pushed us on the elevated ramp up there.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
the
quick
one at the
question.
bottom.
I'm sorry.
No,
Go ahead, bro.
when we went up over the ramp on the south, when we
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
had
That's what I
control of
meant. Yeah.
that. But when ICE had those marches, basically in our downtime, it was not fun. Just I'll be honest, and I got zeroed. I didn't expect it.
I know. We saw. We saw. I laughed. I laughed. Don't worry. I saw.
Part of the game. Oh well.
I mean, it's only 10% dead. You'll be all right.
I had no troops left. It didn't really do much to me.
Yeah, because you're like 60 mil powers. What is that? Like 1 million tier 5s at best, and that's tier 5 alone. That's not even including tier 4s, where it's just like a fourth of half of the power.
I had 220,000 healthy troops at the time, so I didn't really get hurt too bad.
You got 20k dead, bro.
Oh well.
Well,
I
on
trained
the
it.
topic,
20K
Shazam,
dead.
I enjoyed having that battle tactic, filling nodes with ice rings, bro, and calling each
Oh,
one. That
yeah,
was
that was Conflict's idea. That was so smart. I was like, bro, this. then
yeah.
he teleported right there and just stood there, and we just all had like ice.
Yo,
cream.
that's a perfect use of artifact right there. That exhibition. A question I had though: when is I keep capturing pets. I've been getting lucky, stacking on the skill card. That update comes soon, right?
Yeah, Audie, it's fucking 3 days from now.
Oh, thanks, Gary. Yeah, I'm focusing on the sapphire for Drake.
How close are you getting, Audie, to T5?
I already have that power achieved. Now I'm on a whole nother level, Sabrina.
Wait, hold on. Audie.
Audie's a
Never
big
mind.
boy now.
Odie's
seasons,
over.
buddy.
Odie's like 150 million now. He went
No,
whale mode.
he's not. There's no way.
Yeah.
No, that's Comrade Gio. My main account is a 20 mil and a 50 million. This one I am
Legendary, right?
piloting for my comrade. Yeah,
Oh yeah, you got one gifted to you, right?
the original Geo
Yeah.
account. Yeah,
GG. Yeah. 'cause
never
I know
paid,
you don't
still
spend.
free, but it's ultimately fun. What can I say? I'm really looking forward to the global migration now. It's going to be a bigger chance these top alliances could clash. I'm watching Rambo and IL. Those people are fighters. That alliance is like nothing to play with.
I'm really looking forward to getting back together with old friends when that happens, for sure.
Yeah, excellent choice on the game. Yeah.
Cross server? The cross server you're talking about?
Yeah, that one comes in, I think, at the end of the third quarter, they called it. So probably we'll get the pets and then
that's
maybe
like September.
Yeah. Hey, they could take the time they need. You know, as long as they get it right, it's very important.
So many people that have quit, and the game's only a year old. I didn't even start this game until like months. Yeah, no, my account's
I mean, well, the game takes a lot of time, to be honest.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's like it's understandable for people.
Oh, see, I can't speak freely because Boss Nasty is recording us.
What? No, he's not.
Yeah, he is.
Boss got the green light or red light incognito. You'll never know.
No.
So this is my argument.
Yes.
This is my argument towards Boss Nasty in terms of one thing. I not an argument, just more like a understanding. So this is directed to you, boss. You know how you said, it's more like a stalemate in the final zone and whatnot, at least in your opinion. I think what it is, too, to be fair, this is probably the first KVK that had a lot of like top dogs, and I think it's getting to a point where kingdoms are getting big. Like players are just getting bigger and bigger. It's natural progression of the game, where it's not going to be possible to push out a big team anymore. You know what I'm saying? So, because it's everyone is getting, TFS was at 16 build power, with the help of the Miara group. So, it's just getting to a point where you can't really push out a team of 16 billion power, because your average player power, even you did the stats, it's 80 million. Imagine having 280 million players in your team. Like, that's not easy to push. You know what I'm saying? So what I'm trying to get at is it's going to be hard to push towers for any of, like, in the future, like, completely kick somebody out in the final zone, because it's just we're getting to a point where it's just too many big dogs in one server. Does that make any sense?
I think stamina is a real killer when it comes to that much power. No matter how much you put power into a single fight.
Yeah, I'm glad they upped the stam for sure. Yeah, imagine if they didn't.
Yeah, I don't know. But I think eventually they're just going to make changes to flags with Garrison, and it's going to be a different meta.
Fucking hope.
I hope not. I hope not.
That's definitely the direction they're going to take.
I'm looking forward to these new archers.
This game's not big enough for that yet.
Oh, if man, you're in here. You got to give us now insight on what your eyes saw, man. Fill everybody in, man.
Bro, good luck trying to get anything out of him.
Bro, I haven't seen anything. So if you're asking me about league spot, I don't know anything. I just think of Heroes looking like enough of this. But I know that Home Kingdom is coming around May. And after that, we get cross-server migration.
Yo, are the archers AoE?
Awesome.
Say yes or no.
You said way better than mages.
They look like.
Give us
they look like.
Wait, you mean the upcoming?
Yes or no?
You meant the upcoming archers?
What the fuck?
Wait, hold up. Let Rusty talk. What do they look like?
They look like archers, but to be honest, I don't know. I really don't know about this.
So
okay, fair enough. Just your choice of words.
Like
know what you said, Rusty.
Saying better than mages.
Rusty,
What is
archers,
that?
Bro. We
like
know they're archers.
This guy's
like one of them. like very archer, but another one guy is not archer at all. So I don't know.
Oh, fair
One
enough,
of them
man.
doesn't look like Archer, but the other one does.
Fam, is it AoE?
He's in the hot seat, man.
Yeah.
Oh, it's AoE?
They didn't tell
Is
him
it
any
cutting
of
out
the
just for
skills
me?
or anything like that.
Oh.
They didn't, yeah, like
Who the
they
fuck
just
cares
showed him
about
the
the look,
visual.
bro?
That's it.
I
Yeah.
think they showed video about new heroes on next week.
I mean, we're gonna see them in game anyway when the update hits, but nice, I guess.
Mm. Everyone seems to be mostly main mages, so I'm enjoying my archers.
I love
I'm
Archers.
my argument with the well, not argument, just my opinion on mages and archers. I think both of them are really good. I hope the game is still trying to make archers meta.
I
Like
won't
how
lie, both are really good. Like I really love splash damage. Like
yeah, I feel like splash damage. Like what I think is should happen is keep archers, like the hardest hitting. But if you're going to give them range, just keep them as single target and mages to in order to be good.
yeah,
Like that.
To that
Yeah.
to keep have them as AOE, like doing really good AOE
Mages,
damage.
mages have a lot
no,
of pluses, so they're tanky. They're tanky. They don't take a lot of range. They're not slow as fuck. I think archers are kind of gimped, but I'm fine with it because most people play mages. I think mages get really good trades, but like I'm fine with doing archers because most people play mages.
No, yeah, not only that. I mean, it's better to play a mage because Lilia is a guaranteed like good commander's 5 seasons now,
Yeah,
and
she
she's
is for
still very
sure.
good for the small investment that you make with her. And then on top of that, you just
well,
buy the dailies to get Valen or another commander, and you just rock those two commanders, and that's it. And so
Bro,
mages, I think, are
yeah.
should stay how they are. I don't think they should be buffed or nerfed. I think they should stay, but I think archers should also kind of stay where they are because if you start making archers AOE, then what's the point of having mages?
I
Because
don't think
you're always
archers.
going to counter them.
Yeah,
I
I
think
don't think
Archer
archers
should
should
be
be.
AoE. That would be
Well,
so amazing.
technically, if you're an archer, right? Like if you think about any kind of movie you've ever watched, when it's like multiple arrows being shot, that would be
Right?
AoE. But we're talking about
Exactly.
spells. The AoE makes more sense for mages, technically. But
Well,
archers should be faster because if you think of any like real games you've ever played, they're leather wearing. You should be faster. The fact that the tanks who are in my head wearing heavy ass metal are way faster makes no fucking sense. So I think archers have a lot going against them. I think some things need to be slightly adjusted. Not
I agree. I can agree with that. That's the one rare thing I can agree with Sabrina on.
well, check this
I'm,
out, Shazam.
I'm
Watching
betting.
even watching the
The
overview of the choke
Skyfall.
point. Hear this one out for the archer topic.
Mhm.
Watching the overview of the
Wait.
TFS attempting every time, they could be behind the mountain, the archer, and they'll still hit across. So
It's
when
not
you have
like
like archer player, speaking of like, oh, we can't use the artifact, it's a very crucial point because the archers melt at this point.
You know what would
So
be nice if the new artifact has the range, like Viola's bow.
yeah, that would be
that'd be
really
nice.
good. Archers are
Viola's
way
bow
too
you can actually use with long range warfare. Did you know that? Yeah, bet none of you guys knew that.
And I just want to say,
Archers is
Adam,
still better, even with the artifact not being able to be used.
Huh.
Adam, I'm betting
Actually, there's one
we agree on
artifact you
more
can
than you
use.
think.
Viola's bow. Bet you didn't know that.
In
Bro,
reference to
Peter,
what?
shut up.
I do know that it's on one of my
I think
marches, but yeah.
Nerf Mata.
I would like the range to be upped. Something needs to change with archers because it's a little frustrating.
Well, the long
Archers
range
aren't the worst
warfare
troop
does
type,
fix
so
this,
you always got to work on the worst one. Like, halves definitely need the most work because
Yeah,
they're
there
useless.
isn't a bad troop that when you're a good player, you can make everything work.
Well, it
Yeah,
depends
you
how
know,
you play them. Yeah, I agree with
when you
Gary.
scout somebody and they have a shit ton of calves, you're like, all right, you're one of those. Like, you're one of those that runs through, and that's how you get your merits by killing T4s and farmers and minus Fox. Minus Fox. Fox. Because Fox is my boy.
Well, I was farming BXS and EIS keep the whole time.
I don't farm kill. I think that shit's weird.
I was farming their keeps.
I think as in war,
defend their keeps.
There should be no rules, so that's why I refrain from I don't mind farm killers, like that would be my fault knowing it's why am I farming in a war zone?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's 100%. It's
no.
100% your fault.
It's like there should be no rules in war. Anything to win, That's how
if you want to farm. If you want to farm, go to your. It's a weird look when people are farm killing when we're in the middle of a big war. If you come from like smaller alliances and you have time for that, cool. But bigger alliances, we don't have time for that. So if you're caught farm killing, to me, you should just be instantly fucking kicked. What are you doing?
No, that's a whale's mentality. Because when you're killing the farmers, they send resources.
A specific person right now.
But you just said a whale's mentality, and I'm saying that if you were from a smaller alliance, which I started from, and you got to do those things,
you're from a big alliance. I send a player in blood 100 million ore every week.
Yeah, but I did start from the bottom. I'll never forget how bad that hurt.
These two notorious players, Soul and Gary, for doing this. But I think the game is fair. You could enter the node, then you're safe. They can't get you. They give you the option for this. And if you conduct patrols of horsemen around your alliance territory, you'll also won't attract as many enemies. Will that stop these two? Probably not. But still, it's like I'm not a fan of that either, but it's no problem with it.
I don't think nodes should ever be protected. Just play smart. Like, if you need to farm, then move out of the zone.
No, I would disagree with that because the majority of the players that need the resource, they should be allowed, especially if they don't spend or whatever. Make it at least that to where the farm killer only has the chance to get you going in it or out. That's it.
No, it's a war zone.
It's a war zone, exactly.
It's a war zone, and the resource healing in this game is so strong that if you're letting your enemy farm, you're a dumbass.
Because you could have low powered players that all they do is destroy and build flags and farm and send resources to the big players, and they're just as valuable as a 65 million power account.
Is war area? Absolutely, it doesn't matter. But any other time, it's like randomly, it's pretty annoying.
People buy resources now from quote unquote dealers. So honestly, like if you're in a whale alliance, you either buy, and now you don't even need to buy from a dealer because they have the daily shop available for you. But a lot of us are more than willing. Like I know I'm more than willing. If somebody says, "Hey, I need wood, I need gold, I need ore," and I have it, I'm going to send it to you because we help each other. That's what we do.
Yeah. Sorry, you know what's gonna happen in 5 seasons? Everyone will have their 2 million daily healing maxed, and also, everyone will just resource heal over those 2 million. So that will be Rise of Kingdoms plus 2 million heal per day.
Do you guys think this game is going to last very long? Yeah, you do?
Hey, I hope so. I really enjoy it.
I'm from a game the last month it was in, it made $500,000, and it was a dead, dying game. And this game is way bigger than that. Like, this game's still growing. I know people don't think it is, but...
I mean, I meant it on, based on the choices that the devs make, etc. Like, they don't... I don't know. Like, I feel like...
I think I said it best, Sabrina. And it goes like this. The game could offer you a season ahead, but it's up to the players to make the outcome of that season. It's just the way it is. So you get together with your friends who you want to play the game with, and you form whatever you got going on, is gonna be the best overall. So it's gonna change once that global migration feature
But there,
comes
I
into
feel
play.
like we as players sometimes when they make certain choices and we don't like them, there are certain people. Boss, this is not you. There's a particular person that is very influential in the YouTube community that has been a crybaby, and it has affected a lot of us. Like, if you decide, hey, like mid-season, my alliance isn't for me, you can't research. You cannot change alliances. You're fucking stuck.
Yeah, but that led to people like backstabbing each other and doing slimy shit. So that's honestly
Right, but
fuck that.
I mean,
but
that's
Like,
part of the
how
game.
about this?
people
How about this? How
backstab
about
their
like
own
finding
members.
a group of
That's-
people that you like?
That happens
Like
in
we
war
did.
games, though,
Don't
all the
get
time.
betrayed. I don't know what to say.
In
I
real life
just-
war, it
What do you mean
happens.
don't get betrayed?
Right,
It's
so
like
You
the
betray
I
people
think,
all the time.
Choose your allies better. I don't know.
choose
but
your
the-
allies
That's
better.
very true
Okay.
too.
Is that why
There-
TFS was like trying to suck off BXS and get them to betray EIS?
Yeah,
in
Always,
if you
season?
get
always
betrayed,
suspect the
Yeah,
unexpected,
right.
but I don't
LeBron,
know.
that was killer right there.
I don't know about the
Yeah,
sucking
I saw
though,
the
because
messages,
I
dude.
wasn't
You guys were
involved in
literally,
that
you
at
guys were
all.
begging them.
Ken, you know
saw
all.
that.
Ken, I love you. You know all about sucking. You're good at it.
Whoa!
Boss, don't have
Peace.
that face. Don't have that face.
Yeah,
What,
but if the research thing ruins the game for you,
The
this
next
game ain't
cat
for you.
title is
So
Yeah.
Call of Dragon
that change isn't that big of a deal.
Yeah, it's really not. Honestly, I think that's the thing on you guys.
You really,
Like,
you
just
guys
find
really don't
people-
think
No, find some people
it's
you
that big of a
actually
deal?
like.
I think it's a
Hang
more
Yeah.
big deal that a YouTuber has that much influence over a game versus
It's not
the
just
community.
him though. Like I agree with him though. That's the thing. Like people just are fucking slimy
You can
pieces
agree
of
with
shit, and they'll
Yeah,
do
but-
like whatever it takes to win, and it
But
actually
that-
it forces you
that-
to commit to a
I'd
team.
say, I'd
So
say,
I got a counter argument because
it
I
makes you
gotta.
have strategy in the beginning of the season.
go
You
ahead.
have to plan where you want to go and what you want to do.
Exactly.
So this is my counter argument. Okay, fine, whatever. You know, you got a certain player that cries and has a huge influence in the game, and whatever kind of he says, they're kind of going to lean towards his favorite, right? We
It
don't know who
wasn't
that
just
player
him
is.
though.
Fuck what
It was
he
the whole
says, dude.
server on the
Come
other
on,
side
guys.
complained
Hold
about
on,
it.
let me
Can
hear
you
this.
let him
I'm
speak?
Literally
with you
You
don't
guys,
so
give a
come
far.
on.
They don't give a fuck. You think like if you think if he was gonna say something like I think they should make everything free in this game, like they're gonna listen to him? No, you guys are delusional if you think he's got that much influence. I think it's
He has an
enough
influence. He definitely
He
has.
does.
He has
Say
an
I have an
influence, but it's
influence
not as
too.
big
I
as
have
you
an
think.
influence because I'm spending $180
I think-
every 2 weeks buying the dragon tickets. Like,
Bruh, if
That
they're
doesn't-
willing to pay that man, he definitely has some
No.
type of influence. Like, there's
Yeah.
no way he
I
has
think
no
you are
influence
more
if they're paying the man to release
Yes,
the
you are
contract
more
for them.
delusional. Yes, you're more delusional thinking that he doesn't have an influence.
but it's
like you
it's
might agree
different.
with it, which is fine. It works in your
Yeah,
favor.
I don't agree with
but,
everything
but
he
it doesn't
says
mean
though.
that
Like
the COD,
I don't agree with the way he
but the
designs
COD
like some of his
community
heroes
in
and
general
stuff.
doesn't agree with it.
No, they actually do. That's the thing. It's not just me. It's a ton of other people who get
A
fucked
lot
over.
of people
And I
agree
don't
with
know if
that.
No.
and I don't know if you lost because you got salty over something that because you guys can't fuck people over anymore. Like you're literally promoting fucking people over. Like that's what you're doing by saying that I
Yep.
don't agree with this. That's literally what you're fucking saying. So I don't have any sympathy for you.
The server I'm in,
Wait,
if there
no.
would have been research at any
Wait,
time,
I'm genuinely
it would have
just
changed
having-
who won the server.
Well, I don't think he was
I didn't fuck
targeting you
anyone
in
over,
that
Levon.
aspect.
I was literally just having a discussion with you.
Yeah, but
No,
like
but
I'm
what
just
he's saying is it promotes backstabbing.
saying,
Yeah, it
really
promotes
does.
backside. Yeah.
Like,
And it also promotes not having a strategy.
I don't.
You can go into a server and say, I'm going to start
I
here. And
don't
say, oh, I'm
disagree.
going to research over here because this team's doing better. So we're going to use them as a shell that they already built. And then we're going to jump in and take their team.
Yeah, which was promoted. I'm not gonna lie.
You
it
have to
is just-
plan 70 days in advance to win now.
Yeah, so if you guys don't mind me jumping in, I think a few things
I'm not disagreeing.
as there was a few points that were brought up. So I think first and foremost, you have to really understand where the change is coming from when they decide to do something like limiting Resurgence, right? It's not really that it promotes backstabbing, it's more of that it can happen. What it's really promoting is more bandwagoning, right? So you're more so having this ability to basically get out of a poor situation and potentially get into a better situation. You're usually not going to see that happening where you're in a good situation and then you're going to a bad situation, right? So that's kind of the priority of really what it's promoting. Any kind of backstabbing or betraying that can happen in any kingdom builder,
every
any
time.
alliance,
That's the
and
problem,
in any,
man.
those things can happen ultimately at any point. But that's just more coincidence. It's not. If you understand the mechanic of the system is not, because of the change. The change was not implemented specifically to eliminate backstabbing, because that's something that can have that's not in anyone's control, right? What's really limited is the ability to get out of a poor situation and go into a better situation, right? And depends on what happens from that, right? That could be anything, right? Backstabbing or betraying could be included in that, but that's not the primary reason. That's more of a secondary or more of a reactionary thing that can happen in arguably any kingdom and any alliance. It just depends on the individuals that are making those choices at that moment. The second thing that was mentioned about the RSS tile thing, so there's really kind of two ways to look at that. One way is, which is what someone had already brought up, about this idea of, you shouldn't be allowed to have that kind of a safety net in a war zone. And I think on one side of that makes sense. On the other side of it, which is really one of the big challenges when kingdom builders start off so early, is that there's typically not enough overall troops that are trained to where you can have long-lasting, sustainable fights outside of people that are kind of in that mid to high spend category, where it's obviously a lot easier for them to train and to heal, right? So you can also look at it as though a reason why they could be doing that is to try and allow for more, because you have to think about when you're fighting in a war zone, you're usually not having free reign to gather RSS. That's pretty much a given. And with that, you're losing out on being able to have a healthy stockpile or a healthy reserve, or even regaining somewhat of one, which obviously factors in after the initial fighting has started, if you're looking to try and have long-lasting, sustainable fights, right? Or at least for longer than it may last based on what your current amount of RSS is. However, I at least personally still kind of fall on the side of that it's a war zone, probably shouldn't be farming in a war zone. I think that's kind of just a general given, but I can understand from the other side of it, right, at least one factor for why they may be making such a change. And then the last thing that was brought up by Shazam in the beginning was about the kind of not being possible to push out big teams anymore. Bear in mind, like that is the majority of what's usually done in KVK. So if you go and you research and you look at all the KVK seasons, you'll see that in the majority of the KVKs, people are basically getting fully pushed out of Final Zone. You're not seeing the majority of the time where everyone's kind of running into this stalemate type situation, right? This kind of 50-50 split, or they're getting held up at, big choke points. It does happen. It's just not happening the majority of the time yet. Or we should just say at the moment. And then I think the other part is that it really just depends on the map layout. And a good example of this is if you look at the S2 map, right? So the S2 map, where basically you're in like Camelot, right? So everyone is kind of converging, right? The map is basically like a sideways egg, right? Or an oval. And then you have the dragon that is basically top middle at the end, right? And because of the curve of the map, everyone is basically funneling to a center point, unlike obviously what you're getting on the T1 map. And of course, you would have to exactly calculate how many flags are going in from each gate. But the idea being is that the way the map is that it's more of a pyramid compared to the T1 map, which is more of a circle. And so there just are some differences as far as how you can kind of play out that situation. But most of the time when you were looking at the Season 2 and the Season 2 Plus maps, is that everyone was kind of fighting either below the plateau, south of it, very similar to what we saw with TFS in the war, right? And obviously their allies where they were having the big fight there. It was right around that curve, that river, and then to the right, kind of right middle, southeast, where the majority of the fighting was happening. And then in other KVKs, you saw some fighting that was happening on the second level of the plateau prior to getting to the dragon. So it promoted. You still could have potentially had some choke point challenges, and in some of the KVKs there was, but the majority of the time you were seeing just a lot more open field fighting. Not as much as you still could have if there were some different layout changes, but more than what you're seeing at least in some of the T1 seasons. So I just think map design just has a big part of that. And if you look at something like Rise of Kingdoms, they don't really have pure choke points, right? It's basically just an entire open field. But in a number of those KVKs, they can have war that lasts days and weeks in Kingsland. So, I just think it's just a matter of kind of understanding the differences. Because, I've heard some people have argued and said that, oh, well, if you make the final, not the final zone, but like the dragon area as an example, where you just make it, like a big square or circle, something to that effect, right? And there's just a lot of open field area outside and within, that you may not see as much sustainable PvP. But if that was the case, then you wouldn't be seeing a lot of that in Rock. So I just don't think that's a valid argument overall. So yeah, that's my responses after listening to those 3 topics.
Cool.
You can't judge the future of the game and how the big major conflicts are going to go based on the one most recent big KVK, simply because you have alliances out there that are willing to roll up and bang for 48 hours, for 60 hours straight. And so unless you were in groups that are willing to do that, then you're not going to see the full potential.
Right. Blood and MILF and COC, they fought for like 48 straight hours to decide who was going to get the dragon. And they started deleting flags, and it was nonstop. That's just, some teams don't put the time in. They think they can do it in 3 hours.
I wish it was like that.
Yeah.
Because even my team, when Pass 2 opened, my team was on for over 12 hours till we lost the Spire, because it was 2-on-1 and we couldn't hold it.
Yeah,
but for 12 hours, we had over 40 people on for a 5 billion power team. That's phenomenal.
Yeah.
12 hours? That's crazy, man.
Hey, I'm glad
Zone
away from
It opened
those.
up at 7 p.m. my time, and I went to bed at 7 a.m. That's when we lost the Spire, and we defended it the whole time. And I was like, all right, we lost it. I'm going to bed.
I should have just went to sleep.
Zone 4, I didn't sleep for 36 hours.
Oh my god.
And like the big accounts get piloted, so they're being ran 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, man, it is. I just think for me, I really would like. I remember how much fun it was. I remember back in, what was it? I think it was 1+ or 1++ at the time, when I just remember that epic open field battle on that Sahara wasteland between Jason and Neff and whatever it was, Jedi and DX, I think, and anyone else who was there.
1+.
Oh yeah,
that was cool,
dude. That was
that was 1+.
Like for those that were there, and there was other KVKs obviously that had other really good open field fights, but that was such, it was just so amazing. And I was in the middle.
That was
of
a really fun season.
Yeah, and it lasted a long time, and I just thought, man, this, you really just had the potential to show off so much. And that's not to say that I don't think, they should just remove choke points. I just think that it'd be nice to see them.
They should
Emphasize a little. All right, but I was just going to say generally, I just think it'd be nice for them to have a little bit more emphasis on kind of more open field play, even if it's, whether it's generally throughout zones or even if it's at kind of more important points or areas, just to see how it would be different. Not to say that maybe they need to keep that forever, but it would be nice to see them run it as more of a test, right? Because obviously,
but like you said, most of the people are getting pushed out of the zones. So they have to prioritize defense, because that keeps the fights going longer. because most of the seasons, like the teams get pushed completely out of the zones.
Well, they're addressing that, if I'm not mistaken, right, boss?
Yeah, I mean,
they are going to
because that's
get
what the
out
choke
of
points just buy the losing team time.
Yeah,
It
and
makes
the
them feel like they
spires.
have a hope.
Yeah, but the challenge is that, and this is one of the big hurdles for that is if you get into a situation where, and again going back to the ST14 KVK group, it's just a really good example. I mean, even the FS Dora map group is an okay example as well. But it's really exacerbated in the ST14 group. It's like if you get into a situation where it basically is a stalemate at the 3 main chokes and no one is really pushing anyone else, you can also make an argument that at that point, you may not find as much motivation potentially on either side because it just kind of almost becomes monotonous to an extent, right? Like you're not getting a diversified flavor of different attacking points or different attacking situations, right? Where you're mixing it up and kind of, hey, it's open field or you're fighting on a ramp or fighting at a bridge or fighting on a mountain choke as an example. And so it's that's not to say that will always happen, but that can very much
Do you think
happen.
that prioritizes starting zone importance more? Like, if TFS would have started in Doorland, it would have been completely different.
Or if they were to start in So Frosted, Darland.
Yeah, I mean, I
think it
see where
makes
you're
the
going.
top teams fight earlier because you're like, I don't want to get caught in this choke point.
Well, I think what they've done, like if you look at the T1 map, and if you're understanding like how the zone's open and what they've done with the neutral areas, I think it's probably the best, the most well-designed map that they've done so far, specifically from the standpoint of how the zone's open and how they've created the neutral zones. Like I think it's something that they've learned from the S2 and the S2 plus map variations. It'd be nice to see them do something like that back in Belleron if they can do it right. My view simply is just that I just think like I love the asymmetrical design. Like I don't really care too much for like the rock symmetrical design of like how everything is. Like I very much like the way that the maps are designed here. My view is just simple: is that if you're going to have your asymmetrical design, just make it so there's no advantages on one side or the other, right? Like it should just be fair and balanced, so everyone has an equal opportunity to. It's like the same number of flags to get to the objective, regardless of what pass you enter in. Like that to me is just simple. Like I just don't think that you should have any form.
But wouldn't that make the top teams fight for the most important zone, like right out the gate? Saying you're 2 flags shorter on this side, so it puts all those top heavy teams saying, "Hey, our best chance of the dragon is to fight in zone 1."
Yeah. Yeah, no, sorry, are you asking as far as like, do I consider that to be a
like,
good or bad thing?
I see both sides of it. I mean, it's like, like there is a clear advantage. One side is better for the dragon, but I think now that everybody sees it, I think the top teams are all going to be gravitated to fight in a zone 1 more. Like they might want to fight in So Frosty now or whichever zone's the closest. And say, well, zone 1's no longer safe. We're not going to wait a month to fight. We're going to fight day 3.
Yeah. So like the challenge with that is it very much promotes a pay-to-win style mentality, and I'll explain why. Because you would not be able to have like mid-tier, like low mid-spend alliances that would be able to sustain having an all-out war in zone 1. And then be able to recover as well. And obviously it depends on if they decide to fight or not, if they're just going to wait all the way until final zone. But it could limit the amount of PvP they could, one, engage and choose to engage in throughout the season. Like an example would be if you have a low mid-tier alliance deciding, okay, well, this is because we've done our research, we've watched videos, we know this is the starting zone 1 we need to go to. But they know that there's a high-spending alliance that goes there, that can very much deter them away from even going there. Or if they did go there, then they may not fight when Zone 2 opens, right? Because maybe they're still recovering at that point and trying to rebuild backup troops. So it's not always a good thing in that sense. I understand. I can see both sides of it. It's just I just don't think that that's the way that it should be. I just don't think there's any point to having Zone 1 wars and fights. I think it does more net negatives than it does overall net positives.
But I feel
those
like
mid teams, because I'm a part of one, we have no chance to fight in any zone against a top tier team. Like my team's 6 billion power. We can't fight against a TFS in any zone heads up.
yeah, like so. What I was gonna use a counter argument is, you know how you're saying, boss, is that you're saying, well, in zone one it will only promote pay to win. Well, wouldn't the same argument use as the final zone? Pay to win will still have the advantage because let's say there's no choke points, it's just all open field. The pay to win alliance is going to win because I get what you're trying to say. Oh, well, it creates better PvP and all that, and like a civil war kind of line, like how we were kind of doing in our server. But at the end of the day, the team with the most troops, the highest pay to win players, they're going to, regardless, no matter what, win because they have the troops to to use up. You know what I'm saying? Like they have the manpower in a sense. So
Well,
I
I
feel
think
like
it also just depends on like allies too as well, right? And you could still make an argument for that as well, even in zone one. It's just, I mean, this is the thing, man. Like if you go around and you poll people and you ask people like, hey, look, would you rather fight an all-out war in zone one, or would you rather just have the zone two passes maybe open up a little bit earlier so everyone can fight in the neutral zone? I think
everybody would absolutely rather have the pass twos open right away.
No, and that's my overall point is like it's the way that maps should be designed should be in a way where you are never taking the choice away from the player, right? And it should always be to motivate and to engage and to build confidence and comfortability in how you're, because you have to really think about it from like a psychological standpoint. How are you going to get this human being to decide on if they want to come out and fight, right? Or do you have a higher percentage chance of doing that if you just throw them into a zone one? Or do you have a higher percentage chance of doing that if you build out a neutral zone and then you give them that option to go and fight? I think it's just pretty clear on what you're going to get. And that's not to say that I think fighting in zone one doesn't obviously have some benefits. I just think overall it is just more of a net negative than it is a net positive. I mean, even in Rock and in a number, with the exception of probably Infinity Kingdom and a number of other kingdom builders, you just typically don't see a lot of, and I should say for the ones I've played, you just don't usually see a lot of like all-out war that's happening in Zone 1. And if you really want to like hammer this point home, like if you go play Infinity Kingdom, one of the biggest reasons why that game is at its downfall, even though it really had, I believe, a lot of potential early on, is because in their KVKs, as they call them, SVSs, you can basically rule an entire SVS after the Zone 1 passes open. So you can basically, like, in the beginning of the season, we're talking within the first 2 weeks, you can conquer everyone Zone 1, where everyone starts, and then the KVK is over. Like, that's not fun for anyone. And obviously, you have Resurgence here. There's a little bit more of some handicaps, if you will, on being able to move. I just think I think when Home Kingdoms come out, there's a very good chance that they'll probably just remove the Resurgence feature because there just won't be a need for it, especially if they have Home Kingdom starting zones. There won't be a need to join any other alliance because you'll just play with
we need a better alternative option. I agree with that.
Yeah.
I do want to wrap up the argument because I do want to go on the topic now a little bit on like migration status right now for a lot of kingdoms. I'm kind of curious to see and everyone's take on that, but or not everyone's take, just everyone's opinion on what will be the top team. But to wrap up this conversation, what I feel like is at the end of the day, a lot of teams. Like there's, how you say you're trying to make the don't take away the player's choice of the final zone on the map. I just feel like some teams will always have an advantage over others. Yeah. So it's just there's never going to be a perfect balance because it's kind of hard to balance a map of like a little bit of everything, like a couple of choke points here, a couple of open fields here. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of hard. And there's always going to be there's never going to be a true 50-50 fair matchup. The TFS, EXG, EIS, BXS was the closest we could possibly get in terms of like dead center, equal teams in a sense in terms of tier 5 power, in terms of power.
That choke point shows that it's exactly 50-50 because neither side can do anything.
Right. So so I agree, and then I also kind of slightly disagree, but that's just my take. I do want to go on the topic with the whole migration right now. What you guys are seeing teams move around? Any teams that you guys are curious about that seeing, like Noir, for an example? I heard they got all their players in. Nobody? Anybody?
That's what I was told. I'm friends with Noir players. That's what I was told.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of teams that you don't know what they're doing because some people are dishonest about it.
Well, we do have a leadership of EXGs. I am kind of curious what EXG is doing. Bull, what's EXG doing? Because I see them they're moving out of server 67 now. And they're going to 86. What's happening there?
Well, I can't say exactly where we're going, but I think everybody kind of knew what our plans were in terms of migration. That wasn't really a secret.
Well, we did see.
Everyone knows.
we all saw 67 go from full to now, and then 86 all of a sudden from normal to now crowded. So
I can just tell you right now, it's not exactly as you may think.
can you give us a little bit more insight? Is it? I mean,
absolutely not. Mr. J is gonna drive to my house, slap me across the face if I say anything more.
Yeah. You don't have to worry about that, Shazam, because I'll be pulling that once the summary hits and showing where everyone moved to.
Well, I think well, I don't know if you want to answer this, Shazam, but there were a couple players we knew that were asking around to join us to go into the server we were